Ever wonder how some people are such good speakers on video? They speak clearly, they speak succinctly, they know how to talk in sound bites. That's what you're going to learn to do right now. Hey everyone, I'm Kim Rittberg. I am a 6-time award-winning marketer who spent 20 years in media at places like Netflix, Us Weekly, and People Magazine, and I'm really excited to share with you all the insider secrets. I now help coaches, founders, and real estate agents expand their impact through content, through video, through podcasts. So I'm going to get right into it. So when you're going to show up on camera, or even at a speaking engagement, when you're going on camera, the most important thing is to prepare. Very few of us are good off the cuff. This is just a natural thing. If you are not a stand-up comedian who's used to improvising on a stage, it's very hard to sound confident and know what you're talking about if you're not prepared. Preparation does not mean writing a 10-page paper. It can be writing down a few bullet points to make sure you're going to hit what you want to say. Now, the next thing is, this is a little complicated, and I just taught this in a media training that I ran, is very important is to make someone say, why should this person care? But at the same time, not get too negative and too self-conscious about, ooh, is this really important? The phrase, like, why should someone care, is something that I started when I was a TV producer. In my very early years of TV, I would have to pitch a story idea to an entire newsroom of experienced journalists, and I was like a baby producer, and the boss would just look at you dead in the eyes and say, why should someone care? Why would I care? It's very intimidating, but the important part is you have to think about, why should someone care about the information you're giving? And instead of making it that there's so much pressure on you and to overthink it, just give it an extra beat. How does this help? Or why is this important to the target audience? It does not need to be important to everyone, but it needs to be important to the people listening, right? So for my content, my target audience is coaches, founders, real estate agents, self-employed professionals. So I just need to say, does this help them? It doesn't need to help my grandma. It doesn't need to help my high school friend. They don't care. This is not for them. But it is really important to say, why should someone care? Now, one other thing is to make it about them. So related to why should someone care, really be clear on who you're talking to. Now, speak in simple terms. This is something I teach all of my clients. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. There's phrases that are sort of internal phrases, or they're in the weeds, or they're jargon, quite frankly. So when you're using terms that maybe not everybody knows, pause and explain it, right? Don't use the acronym for something. There's only a couple acronyms that everybody knows, right? So just make sure, FYI, okay, everybody knows what that means. But don't use acronyms and slang and jargon that other people might not know, because assume that someone's coming in for the very first time. So really bring them in and make it super clear to everyone who's listening. The last thing that is very important as you're doing more speaking, and again, this really works for both video and for speaking engagements, is to bring dinner party energy. And what this means is, instead of when you come on camera, you're not going to go over the top, right? You're not going to be this over the top game show presenter, but you do want to be a little bigger, a little warmer than you might be if you're just talking to a friend right next to you. So that would be, for an example, if I'm introducing this video, instead of me talking like this, maybe at like a regular quiet voice, I might say, I'm really excited to teach you how to be more confident when you're speaking on camera. That's sort of a voice where I'm actually excited you're here. I'm smiling. My voice is a little stronger, a little bigger than if I was just telling my husband, hey, is the pasta ready for dinner? Cool, right? That voice level is not as excited, is not as warm, it's not as loud. So we really want to bring that dinner party energy. All right, so we talked about when you're trying to speak succinctly and clearly, number one, you have to prepare. Just a couple bullet points is enough. Then you should think about, why should someone care, right? Really think about your target audience. What would make them tune into this is very important. Make it about them. Lastly, you're going to speak in simple phrases, simple words, no jargon. And then, okay, actually, this is the last one. Then you're going to bring dinner party energy. You're going to show up with warmth and excitement and a little bit more volume, be a little bigger. and then you are going to crush it. Make sure to subscribe. You can subscribe on my YouTube. You can subscribe and review my podcast, The Exit Interview with Kim Rittberg, which brings tips and tricks to founders. I share marketing lessons, and every other week we have a founder with their tale and advice from their experiences. So make sure to follow me. I'm on YouTube at Kim Rittberg Content, and I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn at Kim Rittberg, KimRittberg.